I'm Chris Arthurs. I'm the defensive coordinator from Naperville North High School. Today I'm going to be sharing a presentation with you guys on data to dominate on defense. And our slogan on defense is if you want to dominate, you have to dominate every day. We're big believers in that. We try to have the best days we can possibly every single day. On the practice field, at home, in school. I know what today's challenge is. It's been a test to it, and we've been working really hard. So that's kind of our mantra we've been rolling with this summer. But a little bit about myself. Again, I'm Chris Arthurs. I'm the defensive coordinator from Naperville North High School. This is my 10th season of coaching, third season at Naperville North High School, where I've been the defensive coordinator since then. And then there's some contact info there below. Phone number, email, and we'll get started. All right, so what this presentation is going to be about is how, as a defensive coordinator and a coaching staff, that we put together a game plan for an opponent on a week-to-week basis. Why do we have a plan? A couple reasons that we found this to be effective for our game planning for opponents is it helps us stay organized during the season. When you have a system put in place for what things you're trying to accomplish weekly, it allows you to, during the whirlwind of a football season, keep your head on straight and understand the tasks you need to get done on a week-to-week, on a day-to-day basis. It allows for a daily, weekly reflection in season. If you had a good game, what did you guys do? What did you do well that game as far as outside of the X's and O's? Were you prepared properly to defend this play based on the way you practiced it? Did the kids have the resources that they needed? Did they not have the resources? So it really allows for that daily, weekly reflection. Very important component is it helps keep your staff organized. Our guys know exactly week to week what we're going to be doing, what we're trying to get done. It's a nice organization tool. And, of course, it helps create the best plan to attack your opponent on the defensive side of the football. I'm going to be sharing several resources today. These are three of the main resources before I get going that we use, different applications off these resources. Huddle is our main film database that we use. We are a Google education school for our school district, but I also have a personal Google account. Can't say enough that Google really helps collaboration between yourself, your coaches, and if you're using it in your school district, your students and your athletes. So Google Drive, setting up a Gmail account, a lot of resources there. I'm going to be sharing a lot of those today. The bottom one here, it's a snipping tool. Most Windows, iOS programs have this as a simple attachment that you can just click search on your search bar and it's on your computer. It's something I use religiously to cut and paste and pull pictures from screens and different things. So snipping tool is another great resource. And these are the three primary things that we use for putting together our game plans and different resources throughout the week and the season. All right, so what do we do? This is kind of a typical overview of, as a program, the things we do from Monday through Sunday as a team, offense, defense, special teams. Monday is a team practice for us where we get together as a program. We have a lift or we recover. It's a first day of install. We talk about highlights from the week. Tuesday, heavy game plan implementation day. Wednesday, final implementation and a teaching day. Thursday, polish review. We always say Friday, we want to be the best day of the week in the school and on the field. Saturday, reflect and evaluate. I'm a big time believer in the 24-hour rule, both emotionally and, professionally. After that, those 24 hours after a game's over, it's time to move on mentally and emotionally into the next opponent. Big time believer in that rule. And then Sunday's off time, work on our own. So this is kind of our game plan timeline. So I shared with you what we do, the ins and outs of the program. This is kind of the mindset that we use for developing a game plan from start to finish throughout the week. Our game week starts on Saturday, 24 hours later, that 24-hour rule. Once 24 hours has passed, hopefully we're ready to move on to the next game and start preparing for our next opponent, and then using the different resources that I'm going to share shortly. Sunday is a family time, work on your own. I call Sunday a day-to-day. Sundays I'm usually sitting watching TV, watching NFL games, number crunching, typing in tons of data. I'm going to share some of the things that we that we data crunch on Sundays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, teach, practice, teach. That's our model for how we try to get our athletes to understand game plans, understand techniques, work with our coaches. We follow the teach, practice, teach method where we want to show, the big picture concept. We want to practice it, teach, and then Friday's our test day. We're blessed to be a very high academic school. We have very high academic standards. We try to model a lot of what we do both on the field with high expectations and in the classroom with high expectations, using that as, our background of our students to help us be successful. Friday's our test day, game day, and then Saturday, rewind, start all over again. All right, so like I said, Saturday's kind of that starting point for our game day planning. The last thing that we do, the last component I try to be at as a coordinator for the week is that film evaluation period on Saturday, when we practice at 8:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, training film, our JV games, finalize the previous weeks and begin the upcoming week. Couple tools that we use on Saturdays that are big helps. Our conference uses Huddle. We use a Huddle pool for our film where our conference teams share, our film from the previous week almost immediately right after games. And then we have access to it. One resource that I'm a big time believer in, I started doing this a couple years ago, is stats. As a coordinator, sometimes you watch games and you miss some stuff. I think that taking stats for your guys as a coordinator really helps you see detail of what games look like and what guys are doing. So I've got a defensive stat book that we've taken, we use throughout the season, where we share, and then that's something that we use for highlighting our guys, all conference, all states. Team tag data. At this point, we've uploaded our film, and now we're analyzing our opponent film using Huddle and Huddle Assist. All right, so I'm going to go through some of this stuff today and talk about Sunday. On Sundays, this is our big data day. So we type in a lot of different things, but if you're not using it right now, I cannot stress to you, Huddle Assist, if you're a Huddle program, is a great resource to help get a lot of the basic first down, yard line, hash, strength, a lot of those components that it saves a lot of time. Now, these components that we use, they change week to week, but a lot of these are staples, formation, back set, offensive play family, front coverage, and then result. A lot of those change week to week, but they're things that we develop, what I'm going to show you later as our customized reports to help put us together, give us a clear picture of what's taking place on the field. So we type in a lot of data. Big believer in data, big believer in using that data to help us be successful. All right. And then we start on Saturday night. We're creating our upcoming opponent scouting report. I'm going to show you more detail what that looks like as we go throughout. This is kind of a shell of the things that we put together, and we give to our kids both electronically and we'll print it out on paper. We're getting more away from that and just using electronically because thankfully we have the resources to be able to do that. But that's what our Saturday game plan looks like. Moving on to Sunday, know your opponent. Family time, nothing football in person. I know a lot of programs meet. That's great. I've been in programs where you meet on Sundays. I think that meeting in person, working on your own, meeting virtually, they all have positives associated with them to help you be great football programs. Right now, we choose to get our own work done. We think that we have our staff in line, that we know what we need to get done on our own to be successful. And come Monday, we're ready to go, ready to work with a clear picture of what we're trying to accomplish throughout the week. So Sunday, we're knowing your opponent. That's our theme. Know your opponent, get to know them. Like I said, it's our day-to-day. When we use Huddle scouting reports and data sets, so once we've got all that data typed in, these are some of the reports that we're going to create to give us a clear picture of what our opponent is doing in front of us. We use a run-pass percentage, favorite formations, favorite run plays, favorite pass plays, down and distance report. And then one thing I've dabbled in a lot more this year, especially after having Huddle Assist for a year, are custom team reports. So, as a football coach, you know what teams like to do going into the week. You know what their strengths are, what they're known for. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll actually do custom team reports where we'll create a different data set to analyze a different piece of what that team does. So taking a look at that, one thing, if we were to look at, an opponent that we were playing, and one thing that we look at is tackling. All right, we want to see what our tackling looks like. So on Huddle, this is kind of the big picture data, what everything looks like when it's in on the defensive side of the ball. And if you're a Huddle program, that's great. You can also create different spreadsheets off Microsoft Excel where you just make columns. You can download data from Huddle to help make spreadsheets. It's as simple as making columns and typing in what you want and then sorting and picking. So if I was to look at, let's say I wanted to see a different type of set and I was analyzing tackling. So now what I've got on here is it's gotten rid of those different, the down distance, the formation. And now what I've got on here is I've got a data set where I'm actually looking at tackle type. And, these are different abbreviations that we use for the types of tackles that we make on the field. So you can manipulate exactly what type of data you're extracting from Huddle. So that's a good resource for us. Helps us create the things that we're looking for when we're playing different opponents. Monday, know your opponent reports and game plan. Huddle generated, can use Excel. These are some of the big time reports that we use to help drive our decision-making for the game plan that we put in place. We look at offensive formation by play type, and offensive play by offensive formation, offensive play by play type, a summary. These are different reports that we extract from the data that we crunch on Sundays or Monday afternoon, Monday morning before we go into the game week. All right, now we're into, at this point, we've kind of got a good picture of who we're playing. We know what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish. We use Google Slides and PowerPoints for our scouting reports. So this is different pieces of the scouting report that we'll send to our kids, both virtually, and we'll share this in person with them as well. We're looking at personnel. This was a conference opponent we played last year. They had a really good quarterback and running back, so we knew we had to get prepared for them. So they'll have their own slide. We'll have an offensive overview slide where we're putting in pie charts that we extract from Huddle using that snipping tool. Formation plays. We'll extract our formations and we'll put it into slides. Favorite run plays, favorite pass plays. So this all gets put together into this format where it's just a PowerPoint presentation that the kids are getting on a weekly basis about their opponent. We love it. The kids seem to love it. They can look at it on their phones. They can look at it on their Chromebooks. It's a nice thing. That's a nice thing about electronically. I talk to the guys all the time about, there's no excuses anymore. You've got your device pretty much with you 24 hours a day. You've got access to the information that you need to be successful. All right, so we're moving on to Tuesday. We're in the middle of the week now. We're in that teach, practice, teach phase portion of the week. One thing that we've been using and we believe in is that we want to try into different segments of practice when we can. We want to try and create game simulation. Practicing plays individually, but then when we can, like when we're going against scout team or we're going good versus good, and, the offense is giving us a look, we actually create play scripts. And what these play scripts are is we'll extract the data from Huddle and we'll kind of manipulate it to look like a play script that the offense will run. And then we'll have play cards based off of them. So again, this is a extracted data set from Huddle. And then, you can see play numbers and, hopefully we can get 25 plays in a 35 minute scout team period. But we'll use that to simulate, different places on the field, different scenarios throughout practice where we can talk to them about, hey, it's 2nd and 6, doubles, they love to go jet sweep. So we know exactly what we're seeing from our opponent, and we can talk about what the scenario was in the game to have them understand what's going on. We also are a wristband-driven defense. We use wristbands to help us communicate. We talk about seamless communication, a wristband system where we're putting in our different checks and calls throughout the week on defense. All of our kids get these. Actually, it's funny. We talked about practice a couple of days ago. Everybody needs to know play calls nowadays, especially with the COVID situation that's going on. We don't know what huddles are going to look like across the entire country. If they're going to be allowed or not, who knows? But we talk about, everybody, especially on the back half of the defense, has to know play calls and be echoing play calls. So what we did was we try to use wristbands to help us communicate effectively and get play calls in quick, especially when you're going against those tempo offenses. So our wristband looks like that. Our kids wear them Tuesday through Friday nights. Friday nights, they turn them back in. We wash them, and then they get a new one on Tuesday. All right, middle of the week, Wednesday, continuing to practice against your opponent. It's our final install day where we're putting in, maybe a couple different things, but we try to, by Wednesday, we want to have our game plan finalized, shared with the kids. One thing that we love to do on Wednesdays is we actually create quizzes. So this is a application on Google. It's called Google Forms, and what it is it allows you to make a quiz that your athletes can take over your opponents, and you can make it however you want. So this was a quiz that we gave out this summer. It was our first one. The kids filled in their names, grades. You can see this first question, the B and C gap go between which offensive linemen. So they can go back and they can look at huddle using this picture. Then they select the answer. All right. Which technique is missing from the above diagram? You can see you're missing your 3 technique. In our base over, which player is responsible for the strong side A gap? So looking at this diagram, they're answering that. This player is responsible for deep half and cloud coverage, our stud. Kids submit it. We'll say I'm a senior today. All right. So they've got their quiz submitted, and they can actually view their score. And they know what questions they got wrong, which questions they got right, and it gives them feedback on the different questions. And, we'll include things specific to our opponents, specific to X's and O's, different things that we want our guys to make sure they know going into game day. Thursday, end of the week. We say Thursday, we're starting to dominate our opponent. At this point, we've got our final play sheet together. And again, it goes back to that practicing like you're in a game situation. So we'll continue to use our practice scripts. We'll generate different situations that our guys are practicing in. And we'll actually have play calls that we put in where we're using that practice script to see what looks good, what doesn't look good, what our guys can run well, what they're struggling with based on what they see. So we know exactly what our guys are running, what we're seeing in front of us, and we know what we're calling off of it. And it helps us get a good picture of what's going to be effective for us on game day. So this is our play sheet. You can see we have our base call. We have distance calls. We base it off our wristbands, different formations that we might see. We've got some tendencies on here, adjustments that we can make based on our opponent. So that's what our final play sheet looks like going into the week. All of our defensive coaches have this, so we're all on the same page with what's going on the field. And Friday, best day of the week, right? We want to have our best day of the week in school. Waking up in the morning. We're a big visualization team. See good, be good. One of the exercises we did, we had a Google form where the kids submitted this, and then we shared it with our guys. What will it take? We were playing a great opponent. We had a great opportunity in front of us that week. And, we wanted to know as coaches, what our guys think it's going to take for us to win. As coaches, we know what it's going to take. We got to tackle. We got to run to the football. But, what's it going to take in your 17, 18-year-old mind to beat a tough opponent, to have a successful week, to get a big win on the road? It's nice to hear things like that, and we share those kids. We'll share those with our guys in our pregame meeting heading into the game on Friday night. Highlight tapes, highly encouraged. Kids love them. They get them pumped up. And then, of course, we want to dominate on the field. All right. So, that's kind of our game plan for the week, our data-driven defense. Again, I'm Chris Arthurs. Thanks for watching this today. I'm the defensive coordinator at Naperville North High School. I've got an email link below. If there's any of these resources that you have any questions about, where you have more interest in learning how to use them or what they are, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to go through in detail more things too if you'd like. But thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And thank you.